Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm spiritual coach, life coach Coco, just someone that just wants to help you out in this thing called life. Today I'm going to be doing a reading, and what came to mind was the subcutaneous layer of fat. So in the dermis, it's actually okay. In the dermis, there's two layers. There is the top layer, which is the epidermis, and then you have the hypodermis. There's something going on in the hypodermis, something beneath the skin. And I was looking like, how do you heal the hypodermis? And it just says like moisturize your skin and, take proper care, eat a healthy diet, eat healthy foods, like drink water to like stay hydrated. And I was like, there's something on a spiritual level, and I need to make a message in a video right now talking about the subcutaneous layer of fat. So I hope you are doing well. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween. I should have wore outfit for you guys for this. But here I am. Sorry, I was getting a download of what happens when the skin is inflamed, what happens when things are inflamed. And it's almost like an unlivable environment, right? It's hot, it's humid, it's sticky, it's crowded. It's like sometimes you're bloated, there's no water. It's like the humidity is different than like, you being moisturized. And I think that's what's happening with people right now. People are feeling like the people who are the backbones of everything are feeling inflamed. The subcutaneous layer of people in the world are feeling inflamed because there's not enough give and take when it comes to our connections. I hope this makes sense for you guys. There's not enough connection. There's not enough connective tissues that are giving energy to the subcutaneous layer of fat of people. So there's people in our world who help us out, and they're usually the backbone, and they have like, an older sister vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like they never let you down, or like a mom vibe, or like a auntie who's somebody, sorry, it's all women, but women be holding people down. Just like a very like stable person. So in my brain, I'm getting like layers of fat and layers of the body of like our skin and our skin tissues. And the subcutaneous layer isn't that big, but it separates like the epidermis from the actual like blood vessels and tissues. And so the reason why it does that is because it needs to protect it, obviously, because we don't want things getting in our blood and our tissues and things like that. And then from the outside, it holds the outside and the inside together. Oh, so maybe some of you guys are feeling like your mental stability is cracking. You're going into a mental psychosis, or some of you guys might be going through a spiritual psychosis. Please go get checked if you need. And I'm so sorry, like people say that and they don't give you any resources. Hopefully BetterHelp.com can help. I've never used them before. If you guys also know someone in your family that does have space for you so they can listen to you, please reach out to them as well. I want you guys to take care of your mental health. I want you to take care of your physical health and your like spiritual health, mental, all that. But it really has to start with you learning to know how to ask for help. Okay, so going back to the subcutaneous layer of fat, people haven't been helping them in the world, and you guys feel like this is it. Like, I have no more energy. I have no more left to give. And what you really have to understand is in that subcutaneous like layer of fat, the fascia is also there too. In the epidermis, the fascia lives there. And the fascia holds on to memories. It stores emotions. It stores trauma. It stores happiness. Like everything that we go through and we experience our body at a nerve ending level, which means we can feel it through our body, like through nerves and like the emotion and through feelings that we get through our body. Our fascia collects that. And if you don't know how to like rid of all these toxins and rid of all of these deep like seated and like connected tissues, if you don't know how to relax them or like kind of get them to pull apart and massage them out, it does turn into kind of like, I think it's ketosis, is a ketosis, when you get like stones, like calcium buildup is so thick that it creates like these nodules of like protein. Go look it up. I think it's, I don't know, crystallite, cellulite, I don't know, but it creates these little balls, and that's what happens like in our body, and you get like these little nodules in your body all over. But if that happens too much, like you start to become immobile. You can't walk around like how you need to. You can't, you know, your things are moving a little bit slower. Usually you'd be able to touch your toes. That's why our body gets really stiff, is because when people say you don't use it, you lose it. And using our body is very important and vital. But I want to dig on a deeper level, because right now I'm just talking about how to take care of your body. On a spiritual level, if there's a group of people that are the subcutaneous people that are supposed to be holding us together as like a whole, and they're breaking down because they're tired and exhausted, like that layer is breaking down, that means like when, also there's two things, when that layer of like the epidermis wants to protect itself, it will give itself like a lot of fat. So like in our legs, in our arms, in our stomach, it'll start like preparing for like a hard hit. And that's why women usually have like a lot of like bigger thighs and, you know, butt. So when that happens in the community, what does that look like? What would a reflection of the subcutaneous layer of people getting fed up and being tired? That means now that people who are predators, people who are wanting to take advantage of the weak, they're too tired to stand up to people who are wanting to take advantage of the weak. People like ourselves, we stand up for other people and we make sure other people are protected and they're safe. And when we get tired, who else is going to stand up to the plate to do it? And I'm getting that a lot of you, everyone out there, your heart is heavy. Your heart is like, you're tired. You don't know where to look. You don't know where to find community. You feel like people won't accept you. These people in these places, you know, like you're thinking that sometimes they're better than you and you don't deserve to be there. So let's see what's going on. I'm going to get into this reading so we can get down to the root cause, to the panacea of what's going on with the subcutaneous layer of fat. I love you guys much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, let's do some deep breaths on 3. 1, 2, 3. And release. 1, 2, 3. And release. 1, 2, 3. And release. Heavenly Father, Ancestor, Spirit Guides, Protective Angels, Higher Self, Lower Self, and Mother God, thank you so much for being in our presence today and connecting me with the collective to retain and give them this message. If you could use me as a vessel to make sure this message comes out clearly and also let them know what they need to watch out for, I would be ever so grateful. I appreciate your abundance, substance, and prosperity on an everyday basis. And if you are not called on this reading, you are not welcome. Amen. Ashe. Yeah, let's start asking about the subcutaneous layer and what that looks like when people break down in the community. It looks like anarchy. It looks like, and I'm sad to say, you guys, it looks like people not being protected from pedophiles, people not being protected from abusers, people not being protected from, you know, predators. Like it's a real thing. Like we have to wake up and think that like sometimes like we have to know our neighbors because we have to know if they're a predator, not because we want to think that they're a good person or not and we want to build community. Sometimes like you have to look on the opposite side of things of why you should do things, because that's what's going to get you to do it rather than not do it. So again, that example of people don't want to know their neighbors because, you know, I just don't want to get to know them. We might not have anything in common. What if your neighbor is a rapist? What if your neighbor is a pimp? What if your neighbor is plotting on your son or your daughter? You guys don't know these things, and it's good to know your neighbors so you know what's going on, so you can see those signs. I get that we're tired. I get that we don't have anywhere else to look, but at least you can do is keep your home safe and know what your surroundings are like, okay? I'm like vigilante mode on Halloween. Okay. Spirit, could you give me more information about this subcutaneous layer of people that we have in our world right now breaking up? Like, I also got a vision of like this, it was like this pink jelly. It was like, if you guys know what wool looks like steel wool, it was like pink steel wool in the shape of a soap bar, like a rectangle. And then the outside of the bar, because it was in a square, it had like a lip around it. The outside bar was kind of like transparent. It was kind of transparent. All of it was kind of like pink and transparent. And I just almost like saw through it, again, texture, steel wool. It's still gelatin-like. I could see through it almost. It, you know, it's kind of transparent, translucent, my bad. And it was kind of like jiggling, and it was kind of like, and I don't know. But what I got for, you know, what else can we talk about with this subcutaneous layer fat? This new world, okay, you guys feel that there's new energy in the earth. I was talking to my sister about edges and surfaces. This was a long time ago when I was talking about this. This is a really big topic for me. Being an edge person or being a surface person. Surface people blend into the surface. So this is going to be a surface, and this is an edge. So when you come to the edge, you people don't usually like the edge because there's not a lot of space there. You can't move around. Like, you know, you have to be in the working mode to be an edge, where most of the time, if you're a surface person, you could just kind of like, you just have to obey the rules of the territory that you're in. When you're an edge person, you get to kind of like travel and experiment more with different type of rules and boundaries, but the wiggle room that you have is like little to none. I hope this makes sense to some of you. But yeah, so with the world card, and I asked about the subcutaneous layer and how does that like relate with the world, the waking world that we're living in, or the spiritual world that, you know, we're connected to. And I'm getting like your angels are waiting for the perfect time to take you out of a situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, as I said that. Your angels are waiting for a perfect time and a perfect situation to be like, okay, now is the time to get them to move. Now is the time, you know, and it's just gonna, I'm getting for some of you, it's gonna be a message. And I'm getting for some of you, it's like a missed call or 7 missed calls. And you're like, why am I getting a missed call from this number? And what, you know, Spirit, you give me more information, what's going on, but I'm like, but behind this transition, there's a transition, but there's also like, could you give me more information on why this is happening? Like, there's supposed to be some type of perfect time. I'm getting told to use these cards, and I usually don't use flipped over cards. But hard work, so we have the 8 of Pentacles and the 4 of Pentacles. So something work related, you've been working on something pretty hard, and you feel like I think Spirit's trying to let me know. Sorry, it took me a long time because I had to brainstorm. But I think Spirit's letting me know that there's an easier way that you could work. Like, working could be easy for you. But there's still some perspectives that you have to kind of like get over. Okay. What perspectives do they have to get over? Because they're still wearing the same shoes. What What perspective do they have to get over? What perspective do we have to get over? Because I'm sure it's me too. Page of Swords. I think you guys are worried about being liked. You know, celebration. You guys are worried about being liked at a party and like at places. And I think even liked by like the person that you, it's like you're trying to, okay, you're trying to fit yourself into these narratives that don't work. You want to be around people that you're not supposed to fit in with. You're not okay with being by yourself and showing up by yourself. And you always want like a buddy or a partner because that makes you feel safe. And it seems like you guys had a lot of like best friends in the past. Like you've always had a best friend or one or two or something like that. And so the fact now that you don't, you feel a bit naked without them. But how you're working and how spirit wants you to actually like take yourself seriously when it comes to taking a chance on yourself and in the work that you do, you're about to be elevated where you're the boss. So you can't have like a second person next to you. You can't have somebody like in your ear. And a good representation of this is in the Law of Power, 48 Laws of Power, is when one of the kings, I forget what it was. I don't know if it was like King Francis or King James, or I don't know. I don't remember the story. I just remember reading one of the chapters and they were talking about how a king, he was really close with one of like his servants, like that was working in like in the horse stable, but he ran the horse stable so well that when the king died, he upgraded him to like pretty much to be the king because he did such a fucking good job. But then while the guy was working in the stable, he had a best friend while he was there, and he also promoted his friend. So when he got to be king, he promoted his friend to also like be someone higher up, but his friend didn't do the same type of work he did. So when he moved him up into the kingdom, his friend convinced everybody to hate the king and to kill the king so he could take his spot. So the moral of the story is you can't bring people with you that have not done the same type of work that you've done. And I am somebody that is like very adamant about this, because sometimes I'm like, I just need you. Can you do this? Can you do this? And then they're like, yeah, I can do that. And then they're sitting there and I'm like, when were you going to do it? When were you thinking I was expecting you to do it? Oh, you mean right now? We're hanging out right now. We're doing work right now. Why would it not be right now if you don't want to do it later when you get home? Also, we're working on a project right now. So why would you think that it would be any other time than now? And so people who like, you know, for me, and this is, everyone has their own standards of people that they like to be by and they like to hang out with and all this stuff. But for me specifically, if you're asking me and you want to help me to do something and I'm telling you to do something and you're literally just sitting there, you're fucking sabotaging me and I'm not with it. So I think that you don't want to come off like as mean or standoffish or as someone who's like mysterious or doesn't give a fuck about people, but you're gonna have to in this next season, because again, I always say no one's paying your bills. You're paying your bills, aren't you? Okay. No one is making your life easier. No one is, you know, giving you no trust fund. No one is setting up your future for you so you can go home and like have like a 401k and all this extra stuff. Like maybe your job's doing it, but like you clocking into work no one's doing it for free is what I'm saying. So it's the fact that you're going to have to be lonely in this next season to make decisions and be okay with that. I'm getting back for some of you, that's okay. You just want to spend your money how you want to, but I think Spirit's thinking that you're going to try to spend your money on hanging out with people. I don't know. Well, Spirit, please try me. I don't think that I would. I don't have any friends. So of course I'm not sending anybody on people. And for people who are like, oh, I'm your friend. Bitch, when's the last time you texted me? Okay. Okay. Or my bad, you could have texted me, when's the last time you actually cared about what's going on in my life and actually asked about my soul and my heart and, you know, actually dived into situations that I've been through the past to see how I'm doing on it. That's what friends do. That's the type of friends that I want to. Okay. Anyways, let's talk about your finances. Is the collective's finances going to get any better? And when is that time frame? When does the collective, oh, it turned back over. When does the collective's finances get better? I have a lot of weird cards here that I'm very surprised seeing altogether. It looks like you're gonna meet someone who changes your perspective, and maybe that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like you guys are gonna meet somebody that's gonna change your perspective on how like you work and how you see things and how you see business. And right now, you're not really open to the aspect because you feel like this person may be a bit overzealous with their approach on how to make money. It's almost like all they talk about is money, 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 money. And it's just like, damn, Mr. Krabs, I hear you with the money. Are we ever going to talk about fun? And so maybe like, you know, you're someone that just likes to learn things and see like what you can grasp onto to see if that's going to make sense for you and how you can utilize it in your own way. And so I'm getting this person, they are just, it's kind of annoying because they come off like a mentor, but they also want to be your friend, and spirit wants you to be around them so you can figure out how to do business better. But like their personality is so, it's a bit abrasive. It's almost like going to a new country and hearing people speak in your language, but it has such a hard accent on it that you almost can't understand it even though they're speaking your language. And that's what it's like. And it's like, yeah, some of you, you're not offended, but it's like you're kind of taken back by how non-harmonious this person's energy is. They're not very, there's synergy, but it's like when opposites attract, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys come from two different worlds, two different places, two different lifestyles, but you know, you need to learn something from each other, but you're completely different. And there might be like linguistics, like dialect, you know, miscommunication that's happening. And